I'm visiting Alcatraz today. It's a sunny day in May. It's lovely here. And I'm just going to show you some pictures and videos I took. Of this gorgeous place, and it has a terrible history, but it's fascinating. I love true crime. This was on the ferry ride from San Francisco to Alcatraz. There's the Golden Gate Bridge. It was just beautiful. There's a ferry coming back from Alcatraz, and there is Alcatraz. Here's San Francisco behind us, and there's Alcatraz. We're closer. These are some of the sights I saw when I first got off the ferry, walking up to the cell blocks. Sorry for this one, but the ocean's beautiful. I loved the gardens. They were just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful plants and flowers and some old derelict buildings. Here are some more buildings and things. This had a big smokestack. See how steep the hill is? It was very hard climbing up to the cell blocks. There's a lookout tower, just gorgeous. And in here is the prison, the cell blocks. These were the dummy heads that the people who tried to escape used. Fascinating stuff. And I am looking very serious here in the cells, listening to the commentary. And then, look what I saw. Yes, very primitive toilet. They had different art and different hobbies that people could do. Drawing, painting, games. There's an empty cell without the bedding or anything, and there's one with the bedding and a musical instrument, I believe. This was a cutoff area or security area. Another picture of a cell block. Coming up is Johnson, President Johnson, and President Reagan. They put the names up here. They wanted them to be in those cells, evidently, which, who can blame them? This was the upper level of the cell block. And here we have pictures of some of the famous people. Scarface Capone, Al Capone, George Machine Gun Kelly, Doc Barker, Creepy Carpus the Birdman, Bumpy Johnson, and Mickey Cohen. So those were the bad guys that were held at Alcatraz. Here's the entrance to the library. And then this was different people who'd been there, had some things to say. And a beautiful scene out a window. I love hearing the waves. I think if you had to be in a federal penitentiary, this might not be the worst one. I know it was awful, but it's beautiful if you got to go outside. This building was a military workshop and schoolhouse and a residence at different times. There's some fun architecture here, like that tower in the background. I'll have to look up this stuff to see what everything is. It's really a gorgeous island with some cool old buildings that are falling apart, but I love it. There are some gorgeous gardens here. Really pretty, beautiful flowers. Look at that ivy. There's a hummingbird. That's the smallest bird I've seen here. These seagulls were just fascinating to watch, and they were so beautiful against the blue of the ocean and the flowers. And here are just a few pictures of the gardens there. It was very hilly, so a lot of these flowers and plants grew up the sides of hills. And there's a book called The Gardener of Alcatraz, and they had little boards you could walk along and read about the story. Here's one shown, and I'm going to put a link to it in the description below if you want to check it out on Amazon. It's fascinating. Here are some of the buildings or parts of the buildings that remain on Alcatraz. I just love architecture, and even if it's falling apart. And this says, blow your horn. Love that. And a water tower from the bottom up. Here's a water tower. It says, peace and freedom, welcome, home of the free Indian land. Indians, Native Americans, occupied Alcatraz when it was abandoned for about 19 months, I believe. Birds are everywhere here. I guess these are seagulls.
I know her.
Thanks for letting me share Alcatraz with you. I just loved visiting there. And if you ever get a chance, I'd say go. It's worth it. If you're in San Francisco and want to visit Alcatraz, I would suggest going to the National Park Service website to book your ticket. You get a ferry ride and all access pretty much to Alcatraz. My senior ticket was $45.15.